Hey, welcome everyone. The first thing we are going to learn today is how to create collage with torn paper, and I'm going to be showing you how to use magazines for that. I've done a little sample here. Let me see if I can get it to focus. So you can kind of see that the torn paper is not flat on the canvas. It has a little bit of dimension to it, and that is kind of the goal. It also fits within the sections that I've created, so we don't want to use the paper randomly and just like slap it all over the canvas. We want to make sure that it's really intentional, just like everything else that you do. Let's refocus there. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is sketch out your design. I've done a butterfly here because I just think they have a lot of interesting shapes. And then you need to locate a magazine, which we will have in the classroom. I tend to like to use fashion or home decor magazines because they have really interesting fabrics, patterns, and colors. So if you can find one of those, that would be my recommendation. Then flip through until you find a fabric or a pattern or something that you like. And I'm going to go ahead and use this one right here. So I'm going to just carefully tear out, I'm tearing 2 pages, a section that I want to use. And if you don't already have in mind what part you want to do, it's good to like get a feel for how large it is and what you need to fit in that space. So I think I'll go ahead and do this one down here. So I know that that's large enough for that section. I'm just gonna zoom in a little bit more so you can see it better. Okay, so this obviously is not the exact shape of the section that I want to fit it within. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go back and forth, and I'm going to tear off a little bit if there's a lot of excess on the side. Tear off a little bit of that. Now it's a little closer, and I actually want the paper, the torn paper, to be bigger than that section so that I can kind of wrinkle it and make some folds and texture in it. Okay, so I think that's about good for now. I may need to tear a little bit off later. Also, as a side note, don't use scissors for this. You get a much better look if you have that torn edge. Just makes it look a lot more natural. So tearing carefully is always better than using scissors. Okay, now I am just going to hopefully it'll focus on my hand so you can see what I'm doing. There we go. Okay. So I'm folding up this paper kind of like an accordion so that it gets a little bit thinner because that area that we're trying to fit it within is more narrow. Okay, and let's go ahead and compare. Okay, we're gonna get a little bit closer to that size. Now, while I'm holding it on the board, I'm kind of just gonna pinch the paper to get it to be the exact shape that I want. I'm gonna tear this little end off. Okay, once you have your shape made, it fits within the area that you want, now we are going to glue it down. So you'll take a paintbrush. I'll probably give you a paintbrush that's not as nice so that we don't ruin our good ones. And you need to be really careful with this not to ruin it, because if you let the glue dry in the paintbrush, it will not work so well the next time. So you're gonna take some glue, fill just the shape that you're wanting the paper to stay within. I'll put just a little bit extra on there. You want globs of glue, but enough that that paper is gonna stick. Okay, then I am also gonna put glue on the back of this paper just for some extra reinforcement. Okay, while I'm doing this, I'm gonna go ahead and put that paintbrush back in the water. I have a little cup of water with me so that the glue doesn't dry out. So I just wanna make sure that I'm not ruining the brushes while I'm focused on the rest of the project. Okay, I've got my piece glued down, but as you can see, some of the edges are not quite lined up here. So I'm gonna use my nail, or you could use the back of a paintbrush or something if you don't really have nails, to kind of form it to the shape you want a little bit better. And get these little edges. Make sure it's pressed down really nicely, and then you're good to go. I also picked a couple of different fabrics for this, so when you're using magazines, you may not be able to do an entire project with one pattern. So think about, you know, if you're doing symmetrical sides, saving a little bit of that pattern for the other side, but also mixing it up and using different or similar but not the same patterns for each piece so that you don't run out. And that's pretty much it. That's what you would do for each of these little sections. I like to leave a little bit of blank space between mine, and then I'll go back in and I will paint, or I'll go in with marker or pastel or something later and kind of fill all those and add details, so you can actually draw and paint over the magazine as well. Okay, hopefully that's helpful. Let me know if you have any questions. See you in the next video.